What's up, guys? I saw somebody was talking about some shooting it on some firefighters. I didn't actually see the story, but I just saw Discord is posting about it. Pride Month's almost over, right? Happy Pride Month if you celebrate. Be proud, I don't care. What's up, everybody?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away with
Idaho. You guys want to hear some bullshit? Some absolute bullshit.
Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake it through the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To play, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake it through the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
I'll give it to you as soon as we start. Hold on.
And we feel betrayed.
Big iron on his hip. Oh, we good?
Hey daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is
Hey
Big
daddies.
Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good
Hey
old
daddies.
German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. The bullshit that I was talking about earlier is the senator from Alaska, okay? Lisa Murkowski, I think's her name. Lisa Murkowski. So she was one of the people talking shit about Trump's bill, okay? She was talking shit about Trump's bill. Now, a lot of people in Alaska are on Medicaid and food stamps, okay? And not only that, one of the things in the bill is that if states haven't, or that was in the bill, I think it got removed, but let's say a state makes an error on food stamps, right? Because they're changing these laws about how much you have to work and what's able-bodied, what's not, how many hours you have to work. Let's say they make a mistake. Let's say they assign food stamps to somebody who should have had work requirements and they didn't. The federal government is saying, we're not, in this new bill, we're not going to pay for that mistake. You'd have to pay for it. The state would have to pay for it. Okay? The state of Alaska, okay, Lisa was bitching about food stamps and about Medicaid. Okay? Right? Alaska's error rate on their SNAP, their food stamps, it was already over 60%. 60%. They blame an outdated system, but it's already over 60%. So they make 60% errors on their cases of who's eligible and who's not in the way of giving people who are not eligible food stamps. 60%. That is their SNAP error rate. So clearly she's worried about this new taking away food stamps, because if they're making 60% errors, that's going to cost their state a lot of money because they can't figure it out. They're giving people food stamps who they claim don't deserve them. The requirements are getting more strict, so they're probably going to make a higher error rate, and then the federal government's not going to foot that bill anymore. So, of course, she wants to make a big show of, I think we shouldn't mess with... So she doesn't say any of this, right? She doesn't say any of this when she's battling it. She's just like, I think that there's people that need, SNAP benefits and people that need Medicaid. Trying to act like she actually gives a fuck about her constituents. Okay? That's what she's trying to act like. She's not talking about their error rate. She's not talking about how to cost the state a lot of money. She's trying to pretend like she gives a fuck about people. The Republicans, John Thune and a group of people of like top Republicans meet with her. They give her states, Alaska, not the only state, but only two states got it, Alaska and Hawaii. They give her state an exemption, a waiver, that they don't have to abide by the new SNAP work requirements or the payback after error rates. And suddenly, she's on board with the bill. Suddenly. Isn't that insane? Fuck the other 49 states. Fuck the other 49 states. Well, at least my state is getting an exemption. Fuck everybody else. I'm going to vote for it. She made this her key issue of why she wasn't voting for it. They literally just carve out her state, and she's like, good. Yeah, let's do it. What the fuck is wrong with people? You can't pretend to give a fuck about people and then just be like, well, you don't have to pay. Also, they gave a bunch of tax money to the oil companies that are in Alaska, so she had to jump on that bandwagon, of course. Of course. Trump's threatening fucking Tom Tillis with primary challenges. It's a mess. It's messy right now. Okay. They pulled the federal land sales out of the mega bill. Mike Lee decided to withdraw his proposal. So who knows? Who knows where that's going to go? That's the Senate Energy and Natural Resources. That was a public lands for development sale. They pulled that out. There's just a lot going on. I think hold on. I think let me see. I think Mr. Global even talked about Lisa McCaskey. I think it's the first place I heard about it today. Maybe. We'll see. Older millennials still not back either. I want to say he was in an orange shirt, but I'm not positive. Let's see. Let me get some audio. Hold on.
As human shields.
Y'all want to talk about some real heroes? Why don't we talk about those 14 ghosts that were just up in the sky who just made history? And Pete, everybody, I am right there with you.
The pilots, the ghosts.
Using the pilots and the soldiers that carried out the mission in Iran to cover up the failures of the President of the United States is like using children as human shields. You people have absolutely no couth whatsoever. This has nothing to do with the pilots. It has nothing to do with the success of the mission and everything to do with the Trump administration insisting that all of the targets were completely obliterated and this is now completely over. When at the exact same time, we are negotiating a surrender to Iran where we give them $30 billion to rebuild the exact same facilities that we just destroyed. The pilots were given a mission and they carried it out. But it is the leadership, it is the Trump administration that wants to insist this was the greatest military victory of all time, publicly, while privately knowing we didn't achieve everything we wanted to. And you know what? It's okay when you don't achieve everything you want to. You carry on. The mission goes on. You keep going until you do achieve what you want to do. But this mission was more about trying to make Donald Trump look as great as possible by making it as short as possible so he could come out and claim a massive victory. It had nothing to do with the real impact of the mission itself, and it had everything to do with propping up your dear leader, Donald Trump. And because Donald Trump is such a crybaby bitch who has to constantly be propped up, or he'll have poopy pants, the overall mission, which was to eliminate Iran's ability to enrich uranium, the overall mission is a complete failure because the mission became more about Donald Trump than it became about protecting the American people. The mission became more about raising up Donald Trump than knocking down Iran. And now you want to use pilots like human shields to protect him from it. It's really pretty simple. If it didn't work the first time, you come out and you make a statement. Hey, we struck these sites. We're waiting on the intelligence community to tell us to assess the damage so we know what to do moving forward. We may have to strike again. We may not. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. But when Donald Trump is the president, you can't do that. It has to be the greatest victory ever of all time, no matter what, or Donald Trump will lay in the corner and cry like a baby at Walmart. That's the issue at hand here. It has nothing to do with the pilots. And it has everything to do with the unbelievable selfishness and narcissism and self-aggrandizing behavior of the president of the United States, because how he looks is more important than any human life. How he looks is more important than human life. Thanks.
Damn.
Big oil companies and conservative think tanks are spending hundreds of millions of dollars.
I'm trying to say the one about Lisa Murkowski. We'll find it eventually.
From fossil fuels to green energy. Yes. And the latest victory of this effort is state of
Louisiana is the latest state to redefine natural gas, a planet-warming fossil fuel, as green energy. They want natural gas to be labeled green energy.
Louisiana has redefined natural gas, a planet-warming fossil fuel, as a green energy. This follows Ohio, Indiana, Tennessee, even in Michigan.
I don't think they know anything about him other than he's dead. They found his body, the shooter out in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
They consider electricity that is produced with natural gas-powered power plants green energy. A lot of this comes from a model built by an organization called ALEC, A-L-E-C, the American Legislative Exchange Council, a conservative think tank, mostly funded by the Koch brothers. Why do they want to call natural gas green energy when it's obviously not? So it gets all of the benefits of green energy, including the subsidies. So states can claim they're greener than they are. So big corporations can claim they're greener than they are. And while natural gas is cleaner than coal, for sure, it is by no means of the stretch of the imagination a green energy. It is not a thing. In the war between fossil fuels and clean or green energy, they have decided to just redefine fossil fuels and claim that they're green. And this is going to continue state by state by state. Thanks. So the inflation report is out today, and all of the things that...
Oh, the inflation report. So who would have guessed that Jerome Powell was right on all fucking accounts and Trump was wrong? Who would have guessed it? Trump's like, oh, he's this political mouthpiece, and I don't know why he won't lower the interest rate. And Jerome Powell was like, no, we're going to have inflation. We're going to have less spending. We need the interest rate where it's at. Who would have guessed?
That Jerome Powell said was going to happen, happened. Yeah, you know how Donald Trump and all the Republicans said he was a political hack, and that's why he wouldn't lower interest rates. And he said, we can't lower interest rates. Inflation's about to rise. Personal income is about to drop. Spending is about to drop. We can't lower interest rates. That just happened. Personal income down for the first time in 4 years. Spending down, first time in 4 years. Inflation up to 2.7%. Every single thing that Jerome Powell predicted just happened. And that's why it's important that we have a nonpartisan Federal Reserve that sets these standards and decides this stuff. The Trump administration was in a rush to get these interest rates lowered. You know why? Because they knew this data was about to come out. That's why. It's political for Trump. He doesn't care about the economy. He cares about his poll numbers. Jerome Powell was right.
And he's been heavily pressuring him. Maybe I'll get rid of him. Maybe he needs to step down. Or when he's done with his time, I can put one of my guys in there. We can lower the interest rate. He did exactly what he should have done.
Hey, you guys remember when Donald Trump said, just take the guns? You remember that? And then the NRA called him and said, hey, dumbass, you can't say that kind of stuff on TV. You'll lose a re-election. So he had to walk it back because everyone was pissed off. Well, guess what? He's not running for re-election this time. And with the Supreme Court ruling today, because you guys wanted to give him unlimited power, he can do just that. If he decides to. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh, he would never do that. That's not the point. First of all, it's Donald Trump. You have no idea what he will or won't do. Don't even pretend to think you know what Donald Trump will do. But the point is, you gave him the ability. You gave him the ability to take your guns, the thing you cherish more than anything in the world. And you gave every president that comes after him, if we have any, the ability to do that too. All because of your undying love for Donald Trump. Yeah.
Should get good.
Hear what you're saying. Take a moment and realize you're happy that someone got arrested because you disagreed with them politically. And you're
no, because of what he said.
Because I was raised in the South, normally I'd say you need Jesus, but I don't even think Jesus can fix that level of stupid.
You're defending a person who thinks people with disabilities should be put to death because they don't contribute to society. His words. Pretty much verbatim. I didn't realize that people celebrating the arrest of a wanted fugitive was fascism, and I personally wasn't happy.
They're saying don't reply to the bot. You're putting at Restream bot. There is nobody named at Restream bot. Restream bot sends a message from one platform to the other. Their name is the name after Restream bot, Jilly's mom.
That he got arrested, I found it hilarious that he got tased. Especially considering the fact that when the police murder people of color, his response is
just comply.
They should have complied.
That's right.
Yes, the person you are defending thinks people with disabilities should be put down and thinks people of color who are murdered by police should have complied. That's the person you're defending.
It's so that the Twitch chat goes to YouTube, the YouTube chat goes to Twitch, and the Facebook chat. It's all together, I guess, so everybody can see it.
While calling those that are celebrating his arrest fascist. Good take, my guy.
So the war between Elon Musk and Donald Trump just reignited because...
Oh, yeah. Elon Musk is even talking shit about the big, beautiful bill as well. It's like one of the worst polling bills we've had in a long fucking time.
Elon Musk just teed off on the big, beautiful...
Restream bot should comply.
On X. The latest Senate draft bill will destroy millions of jobs in America and cause immense strategic harm to our country. Utterly insane and destructive. It gives handouts to industries of the past while severely damaging industries of the future. What is Elon talking about? Donald Trump's war on renewable energy. This is why the fossil fuel industry wanted him in office. It wasn't about the price of oil. It was about destroying renewables. Understand that by the year 2030, the United States needs to add 450 gigawatts of energy capacity to the grid. This piece of legislation will cut 500 gigawatts of future energy capacity. And we need this energy for AI and data centers. The question is, when this harms our energy security and we don't have enough electricity to go around, who do you think is going to get it? Do you think you're going to get the electricity, or do you think Google's going to get it for their data center? Do you think you're going to get it, or do you think Meta's going to get it? I'll give you 3 guesses and a hint. None of the answers start with the word you. Thanks. So the war between Elon Musk and Donald Trump just reignited because Elon Musk just teed off on the big, beautiful budget.
If your gas prices are higher or
Maybe it wasn't a blue shirt then. I'm looking for it still. I don't know. I saw a reel today of one guy that said his first wife was cremated. Why did it take 10 people to carry her task? Is there a bunch of top secret files that are... I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm tired. Trump supporter is tired of the lies about gas prices. I'm going to make you feel better on this beautiful Sunday. You pay a lot more for gas than you actually...
It's okay. When everybody comes here, they always tag the bot. I used to all the time tell people not to tag the bot, but I just gave up on it.
I think you do. Like, if you're mad about $3, just wait till you hear what I have to say. You know, there's a lot of ways to pay for gas, and it's not just at the pump. And if you were to take all of the subsidies, like the ethanol subsidies or the fossil fuel subsidies, if you were to take all of the subsidies that go back to a gallon of gas, you would see that your tax dollars go to about $2,900 a year in subsidies for ethanol and fossil fuel companies. The average person uses about 450 gallons of gas a year. That would add roughly $6.50 to every gallon of gas you buy. If you buy $4.50 a year, if you buy more, it's less. If you buy less, it's more. What that means is when you combine what you pay at the pump plus what your tax dollars
plus your tax subsidies
go towards in subsidies for ethanol and fossil fuel companies, you probably pay over $9 a gallon for gas. Yeah, it's a thing called hidden costs. Surely you've heard of that. And you're worried about your 15 cents. Your gas.
I don't know where you got your information from. I don't know who your source is, but I will be the first one to tell you that is incorrect.
Oh my God.
One of the things that's been largely missed in all of
Where's the
discussion about the big, beautiful bill is the skyrocketing health insurance premiums that we're all going to experience. Yeah, because they're
the federal employees are getting ready to take a big pay cut. They're wanting them to contribute a bunch more to their pension.
Going to eliminate the enhanced tax credit through the health insurance marketplace. That means your health insurance premiums could increase by 75 to 100%. Yes, an average married couple making $85,000 a year, 60 years old, their annual premium will increase by $15,000 a year. And nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. It just blows my mind the lengths that our politicians in Washington, D.C. will go to ensure that the very wealthy people in this country continue to get more wealth. It just...
Yeah, that's just a weird conspiracy. She wasn't even cremated.
Blows my mind. And the idea that anyone in this country, regardless of their party, could actually support this insanity blows my mind.
She's the one who's buried on the golf course that they don't even landscape it. It's just like grown up with the weeds and shit.
Well, and don't think for a second if you have employer covered health insurance that you're safe, because you're not. Your health insurance is going to go up too. Thanks. You know, one of the things that's been largely missed in all of this discussion.
Where the fuck is his video at? Did I just miss it?
So the president is calling for the prosecution of Democrats.
I know that's who I originally heard it from, but maybe I'm just making shit up now. I don't know. I do want to hear what he's saying there.
So the president is calling for the prosecution of Democrats for the leak over the strikes in Iran. Yes, the Democrats are the ones who leaked the information on the perfect flight.
The perfect flight.
Sites in Iran, they should be prosecuted.
The perfect phone call, the perfect deal, the perfect files, the perfect top secret scandal, the perfect Russia.
Democrats are, he speaks of, I have no idea. The fact of the matter is, if this was leaked it would have been leaked through his own intelligence agency first. I told you yesterday that withholding intelligence from Democrats in Congress was his first big step in authoritarianism. Today, he took a second, even bigger step in demanding Democrats be prosecuted.
Yeah, that's an old conspiracy theory. So at the same time that she died and the cremated rumor started, and then not long after that was when they first found the documents at Mar-a-Lago. And then for some reason, people were saying she was cremated and they put secret documents in her casket. But she wasn't cremated. She was buried at a golf course.
For a leak. What evidence does he have? Probably the same evidence he has about the 2020 election. Another question, if it's not true,
None.
Is it a leak? You know what I mean? How about we focus on the actual success of the mission and find out?
But they didn't, so they're not going to prosecute Hegseth for his signal chat, but they're going to try to find a Democrat to prosecute for the leak over the perfect flight.
Is a success? That is fantastic. If Donald Trump lied, nothing will happen and we'll move on because Donald Trump lies to us every day and nobody cares. Yeah. Thanks. So the president...
All right, guys. Support the stream over at coldbeer.fund. If you want to see it keep going, that's how we pay the bills around here. It'd be great, especially towards the end of the month. Thank you very much. I'd greatly appreciate that. Coldbeer.fund. There's a PayPal link. There's Buy Me a Coffee. There's all kinds of links over there. That's this website here. I want to share a video about a guy that I super hate, Tim Kennedy. Like, I legitimately hate Tim Kennedy. He's making the rounds again. Photo ops with, like, Hegseth and the Trump, many people from the Trump administration. He's on Fox News all the time. He's a lying piece of shit, okay? Basically, the entire ODA that he was part of came out and said he was a fucking liar. They don't even think he's ever fired his weapon in combat. He talks about serving all over the world, except he has one deployment to Afghanistan, one deployment to Iraq, and then he got out to fight in the UFC. Like, he's made his entire career just lying about everything he did. Everything he did. And here recently, there was some controversy about people come out and said, hey, we heard, we know that you said at one time that you had a Bronze Star medal with a V device for Valor, right? Bronze Star medal with for Valor. And he claims that he's never said that. Well, recently, video evidence has come forward of him saying just that, of course. The internet's forever.
I've never said anything about having a Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device.
I've never said anything about having a Purple Heart. That's his own video, right? Never said anything about having a Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device.
I've never said anything about having a Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device. You sure?
What's crazy is, like, the Trump administration, Hegseth, the military, the special forces community, everybody knows he's a liar. Like, everybody's been made aware. The entire ODA he was on came together in a podcast, called him out, called him a fucking liar, basically said everything in his book is a fucking lie from start to finish, that his deployments are a lie, that his combat engagements are a lie, that his awards are a fucking lie.
Hear about that? Per the source I have here, you have a Bronze Star with a V. Is that correct?
So someone's asked him on a podcast, says, per the source I have here, you have a Bronze Star with a V.
Yep.
Yep. This is Valhalla VFT.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and you might think it's time for another episode of... But no, this story officially broke yesterday, proving that the internet is forever. You can't hide from it. Yes, Tim Kennedy caught lying out of his own...
This guy's also a Green Beret.
Finally, about having a Bronze Star medal with Valor. And not only that, complaining...
Tim Kennedy, his entire career is stolen valor.
That his officer should have put him in for a suit.
So here's another transcript. It says, it has been widely reported that you were awarded a Bronze Star for valor. what led to that award. His response: the nature of Special Forces work is secretive, so I'm not at liberty to talk about it. But let's just say I don't like officers. It should have been a Silver Star, which is a higher award. So even when asked directly, and a transcript's printed of this, he's lying about that and saying it should have been a higher award.
Silver Star. Wow. So we're going to watch that today. Yes, this story's been blasting out everywhere. I'm sure you guys may have already seen it, but we also got some extra clips that show even some crazier lies about the number of deployments and all sorts of things. Because yes, again, guys, the internet doesn't forget.
That was like 8 years ago, asshole. People don't forget.
So we're going to jump into this thing. Finally, this dude is exposed for real. There is no refuting it. Everybody who was meat riding this dude, trying to do mental gymnastics about how maybe these awards actually existed, game's over for good. Now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Definitely helps the channel. Follow us on Patreon, and we got new merch. We got the new hats in. Go check them out, all right? Let's jump into this thing. Watch this first clip. It is the nail in the coffin. And yes, guys, just to let you know, there's been a lot of Green Berets, I'm talking about me, in the backside of things, working to compile all this stuff to put up official complaints and reports to both Special Operations Command and the Special Forces Regiment and the White House. So yes,
there's tons of people that have reported this.
They all know, and we're going to cover that in the end. All right.
No one gives a fuck, right? He has a grift going, and they think they can get some publicity from it, right?
Let's jump into it. Watch this first beautiful clip.
I've never said anything about having a Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device.
You sure about that?
Per the source I have here, you have a Bronze Star with a V. Is that correct?
Yep.
Do you mind telling us about what happened there and how you got that?
Oh, pretty straightforward. I think so. There was a bad guy, and that guy was shooting at us, and I shot him.
Wow, you guys hear that?
If you know anybody that's got a Bronze Star, Silver Star, or something, the story is never there was some guy that was shooting at me, at us, and I shot him. That's just normal shit, right? That just happens all the fucking time. That is not what you get a Bronze Star for valor or a Silver Star for, okay? Absolutely not. Usually, you'll have a story about like being pinned down, outnumbered, risking your own life to save a team member that's down, shit like that, right? It's never, he doesn't have a story ready to go. So the only thing you can think of is somebody shooting at us, I shot him, so not a lot to it. Then you don't have the fucking award, dude.
That, what an amazing tale of valor. There was a bad guy, and he was shooting at us, and then I shot him. And that's worth a Bronze Star medal with valor, apparently. Now, I know a lot of people, obviously veterans, watch that and go, oh my God, that was such a pathetic reach to lie, because he obviously had no real story to back it up with. But for all of you who don't understand valor awards and sort of how difficult they can actually be to get, I'm going to put mine on the screen right now, because yes, I also have them. And mine's actually an ARCOM V, which is one step below Bronze.
So this is actually a lower, okay, you remember his story. Somebody shot at me, I shot him, right? This is actually a lower award. This guy was put in for a Bronze Star. The guy that we're watching on YouTube, he was put in for a Bronze Star. It got downgraded because it wasn't sufficient enough to meet that level of Bronze Star. And I want to read you the report from his ARCOM V, okay? Staff Sergeant Nathan, United States Army, distinguished himself by exceptionally valorous achievement to the United States while serving as a junior communications sergeant, Special Forces Operation Detachment, ODA. 1325 Special Forces Task Force, Afghanistan on 7 May 2018 during Operation Freedom's Sentinel in support of Resolute Support Mission. On the night of 7 May 2018, Staff Sergeant Nathan and 2 ODA teammates were advising 20 Afghan commandos during combat operations in the Nachin Valley, or Nachin Village, Tarankot District, Uruzgan Province, Afghanistan. After the helicopter insertion, his element maneuvered to clear a compound located on the edge of a heavily wooded area. As his element began movement from the last covered and concealed position, so they're out in the open, towards the compound, enemy insurgents engaged the lead element from fortified positions with an RPK and AK-47 fire through a doorway and holes in compound walls at a distance of less than 10 meters away. Without hesitation and disregard for his own personal safety, Staff Sergeant Nathan engaged enemy defensive positions along the compound's southern wall while moving from a position of relative safety under enemy fire towards the lead element. While under enemy fire and in an exposed position, Staff Sergeant Nathan attempted to organize the commando partner force, Afghan commandos, to advance in an effort to further suppress and eliminate the insurgent threat. However, due to the high volume of fire still coming from the enemy-held compound, multiple commandos refused to maneuver towards the compound. They're like, fuck you, they're shooting at us. Staff Sergeant Nathan, despite the lack of commando support, continued to engage the enemy with direct fire and maneuvered through the hostile fire to suppress the enemy's defensive positions. He provided covering fire as 2 ODA members were able to throw grenades into the compound. As ODA members moved forward to neutralize the enemy defensive position, Staff Sergeant Nathan noticed an injured commando lying face down on the ground. Placing his own welfare, placing the welfare of his partner force soldier, the commando, above the concern for his own personal safety, Staff Sergeant Nathan ran to provide care under fire. He immediately recovered the commando from the enemy threat and provided life-saving treatment to stop the hemorrhaging from the commando's arm. Once the patient was stabilized, Staff Sergeant Nathan returned to the area of hostile fire near the enemy's defensive position and directed commandos into the compound. He continued to advise commandos while an AC-130 gunship engaged maneuvering insurgents at close proximity. After the enemy threat was eliminated, Staff Sergeant Nathan assisted the detachment commander and senior medical sergeant in preparing for the medical evacuation of the injured commando. Staff Sergeant Nathan then organized the destruction of the enemy's cache and defensive fighting position as the element continued its mission towards the next objective location. Staff Sergeant Nathan actions are in keeping with the finest traditions of military service and... Sorry, it's hard to say that.
One-star Medal with Valor. Mine was actually downgraded.
And reflect great credit upon himself and the Special Forces Task Force, Afghanistan. NATO Special Operations Component Command, Afghanistan Special Operations Joint Task Force, Afghanistan, and the United States Army. Right? So it's not just, somebody was shooting at me and I shot them. And this guy couldn't even get a Bronze Star. His shit was down. He was put in for a Bronze Star. His command felt he had earned a Bronze Star, which is something they don't do very often, like put in for such a high award. They put in for a Bronze Star, and they sent it back and said approved, but it's downgraded to an RCOM with Valor instead of a Bronze Star with Valor.
BSMV. So why don't you guys take a look at this? You can pause it, actually read it. And again, this is just to show you, juxtapose Tim's story about how he got a Valor Award higher than mine and the actions of what my Valor Award was worth, and also 3 of my other teammates that were involved in that directly, who did more heroic things than I even did, also only got RCOM Vs. Okay, so you can see how stupid that fucking story actually is. Now, this is obviously very important because as you saw here, he's been on all sorts of rants talking about how he's never said it, right? Well, we know this is what he's always done. Okay, so he'll do interviews, and guys, I've shown 20 to 25 of these before. He'll do interviews. He'll give a script to the interviewer who will introduce him as having a Bronze Star Medal with Valor, and he won't refute it. This is the first time out of his own stupid mouth that he's been caught. But not only that, there's even more bullshit stories for us to take a look at today. Our buddy Dave Hookstead actually sent me these this morning, and he actually interviewed Tim a few years back, and man, I can't wait for you guys to see these. Let's talk about this.
I sometimes just want to list my credentials so people can understand that when I'm saying things, you cannot maybe find somebody on the planet that has more experience in this. From countless stories.
To be fair, during Iraq, Afghanistan, it would probably be hard to find a Green Beret on the planet with less experience than Tim Kennedy. Right? He's got that one deployment to Iraq, one deployment to Afghanistan, and that's it. He got out to go fight in the UFC. It'd be hard to find a Green Beret that had been to combat or was out of training or whatever that had less experience, not more experience, less experience.
Tours in Iraq, countless tours in Afghanistan, countless tours to Europe, Africa, South America, counter poaching, counter drug, piracy.
Yes, they skipped the meritorious service medal.
Like, I've been doing this for 15
meritorious
years.
Service medal.
let's like he says there, you won't find a single Green Beret with more experience than this guy. So you guys know he spent basically 2 years active duty SF. He deployed not countless times to Iraq and Afghanistan. He deployed one time to each, 2006 to Iraq, 2008 to Afghanistan, and then got out of the military so he could fight in the UFC and went to the National Guard and never deployed again. So no, he's probably got some of the least experience of any Green Beret when it comes to these types of things. And you guys probably all saw that.
The MSM is for non-combat stuff, though, isn't it?
In his attempt at explaining the Iran and Israel conflict in the video we did a couple days ago, the dude's fucking clueless, right? But at the same time, he is brought onto Fox News as a military expert. Wow. All right. Now let's take a look at another one.
I don't know. That's what I've always heard. That it's for I got RCOMs and shit, but that's about it.
I'm doing the same thing that all these guys next to me are doing. I guess I'm gonna be okay. But then there are other times where, we're surrounded on all sides. There's about 30 of us, and there's 400 or 500.
AAM, RCOM.
And they all have elevated.
400 Taliban.
Iran and Israel conflict, 2008. 2 years.
Countless tours in Iraq, countless tours in Afghanistan, countless tours to Europe, Africa, South America.
One tour in Iraq, one tour in Afghanistan.
Counter poaching,
all the rest of this is fucking lies or maybe shit that he did for TV shows or something. I don't know.
Drug piracy. Like, I've been doing this for 15 years.
Yeah. Okay. Let's like he says there, you won't find a single Green Beret with more experience than this guy. So you guys know he spent basically 2 years active duty SF. He deployed not countless times to Iraq and Afghanistan. He deployed one time to each, 2006 to Iraq, 2008 to Afghanistan, and then got out of the military so he could fight in the UFC and went to the National Guard and never deployed again. So no, he's probably got some of the least experience of any Green Beret when it comes to these types of things. And you guys probably all saw that in his attempt at explaining the Iran and Israel conflict in the video we did a couple days ago.
So he's okay with lying, right? Who the fuck would say countless deployments to Afghanistan, countless deployments to Iraq, and have one? Like, what the fuck?
The dude's fucking clueless, right? But at the same time, he is brought onto Fox News as a military expert.
Well, when he got out, he basically made, like, he did TV shows and this and probably worked for contractors and shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck. His military service is not that impressive.
Wow.
I mean, short of being a Green Beret. Becoming a Green Beret is a big deal, right? But after that, it was like one deployment here, one deployment there. Okay, I'm going to go join the UFC. Then he turned it all into book deals and TV shows and shit.
Oh, all right. Now, let's take a look at another one.
And I'm doing the same thing that all these guys next to me are doing. I guess I'm going to be okay. But then there are other times where, we're surrounded on all sides. There's about 30 of us, and there's 400 or 500 Taliban.
None of this happened. 30 of us, 400 or 500 Taliban surrounded. This never happened. Everybody he served with has had interviews. This never happened.
And they all.
His whole book is about a transport mission, right? Where he wasn't even part of like the actual ODA that was doing that. He was brought on to lead some foreign force, their group of trucks or some shit, and he basically just hung out in the back, right? And some stuff happened on that trip, like some combat engagements and shit. But when he writes his book, he's at the front line. He's taking care of everything. They lost all these trucks. They lost these people. There were people plotting against them, and he threw a grenade through a window and killed a bunch of women and children. But he didn't know. He cried in the desert. So all kinds of weird shit that never happened.
Have elevated positions, and we're all pretty sure we're going to die.
No, Tim was never surrounded by 400 Taliban. His own teammates came out and basically said everything in his book is a lie, and that Tim basically never even fired a shot in combat. So pretty wild, right? Like, that just keeps coming out of this fucking grifter's mouth. Let's look at another one.
I've been deployed. You name it, I've been there. I think I have 12 passports that are full. 12 like entirely full passports. Like there's no more place to put stamps, you know. So I have Iraq, Afghanistan, of course, North Africa, South America, Europe. Yeah. So
that's wild. I mean, he's deployed twice. So
clearly, as a civilian, I don't know what he's talking about passports, right? When you deploy overseas as military, you don't stamp passports. So
he's got 12 months deployed. I'm not really sure how he filled up that book of passports. I mean, maybe, when he goes around and does fake photo ops at all these places that he's been to. If you guys haven't seen the story about him in North Carolina that the Anti-Hero podcast did on their live last night with one of the combat controllers who was actually there facilitating everything. Oof, brutal watch. I recommend you guys go watch that. So again, I want you guys to know that again, it's a concerted effort. There's been hundreds of Green Berets involved. Everybody wants this dude basically.
Did the Taliban ever fight like that? Hell yeah. No, full-on firefights. Fucking villages, ambushes, all kinds of shit. The Taliban fought like hell. Almost like a shadow network militia. But yeah, a lot of IEDs and shit like that. But yeah, they would hold towns, they would hold buildings and compounds. They weren't great shots, so they'd like to get in close. The Taliban was pretty well organized. It was this weird game of like trying to talk to the village elders and get them on our side, give them money, give them supplies, help them grow crops, help them do whatever, and get them on our side. But even like weird fucking like cultural slots and shit would have them fucking start dealing with the Taliban and shit. They'd sneak them in right underneath us. Basically look the other way while they set up somewhere, build out a fucking compound or an area for an ambush or some shit. But yeah, they held compounds. Yeah.
Stripped, beret pulled. This has gone up to pretty much every group sergeant major, these reports with hundreds of Green Beret signatures.
Again, all these people know, and hundreds of Green Berets have come forward and signed their name and said, he's fucking lying. I served with him. He's lying. This story's a lie. That story's a lie. This never happened. He's lying. He should be ostracized from this community.
Also, with all this proof of actual stolen valor here, okay, it's gone up to Special Operations Command and is going to the White House. So I'll just say this. Everyone knows, okay? I've talked to some of the highest level people at the White House myself, told them these same stories. They just didn't care, okay? Because as of now, I'm pretty sure they just think he's kind of a useful idiot. But so let's take a little trip down memory lane and see all these photo ops and see all of the people that know everything about this guy but continue to allow him to grift at the White House. Here we go. Yes. Wow.
Look at all these pictures.
White House.
These people know as well. These people know as well. They don't care, right? It scores them points with whoever his following is. He's got a big enough following. They don't give a fuck. They know.
Here we go. Yes. Wow. Look at that. Yep.
Yeah, so there's this weird mentality around Navy SEALs especially. You see it a lot in Navy SEALs of like monetizing your story, even when it's true. Right? Even when it's true. There's almost like this weird like they're supposed to be like this silent professionals. And when people come out and it's never a big deal till they get big, right? And then once they get big, there's like people that shun them or will call them out, even though they're not lying about what they did, for just using it to build a platform. It's very weird.
It's all of them, guys. Man, Sergeant Major of the
Cash
Army.
Patel.
Man,
the Sergeant Major of the fucking Army, who definitely knows. A Green Beret himself. Friends of his have called and said, hey, Tim Kennedy is a lying fucking piece of shit. You know that. We know that. He agrees. I know that. And still photo ops.
That one's, Sergeant Major Weimer, who is a Green Beret, 100% knows about Tim's stolen valor, and he continues to do photo ops. That's probably the most disappointing of them all. And also, guys, I know all these people, not all of these people, but plenty of these people watch my channel. Why? Because they've emailed me. I've talked to them. Also, they leave comments in the channel. So, yes, the U.S. Army knows. Yes, Special Forces Command knows. Yes, Sergeant Major Weimer knows. All these people know. They just don't give a fuck because they have no integrity whatsoever, especially you, Sergeant Major of the Army Weimer. Let me just point at you and say, you're the biggest fucking problem out of everybody. I don't really care what you think about that. And, yeah. So, guys, again, this is beautiful because, again, it's finally out of his own out of the horse's fucking mouth himself, straight up lying. Yes, I have a Bronze Star Medal with Valor. And then also, as you saw, I don't know if we put it up yet. Here's the transcripts, if you guys want to see from the rest of that interview, where he complains about.
We saw the transcript. He says, that's the nature of Special Forces work is sensitive, so I'm not at liberty to talk about it. But let's just say I don't like officers. It should have been a Silver Star. And again, just from a few weeks ago, is him saying, I've never, ever claimed to have a Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device. The Anti-Hero podcast has done a bunch of calling him out. I did not know that they just did something a couple of days ago, though. Is this it? We can't watch all this. It's like 3 hours long, but I want to see what it's about. They had like 8 members of the ODA, the Special Forces unit that he wrote his book about come in on the podcast, and every one of them called him a fucking liar.
Oh, it's Thursday night Squadcast. Thursday nights for the boys. We're in studio. We've got Jonathan Howard, Air Force JTAC turned real estate guru. We got me, we got Brent, we got Matt, we got Drew, we got Patreon people talking Tim Kennedy, breaking down some videos. Drew, roll the intro.
I just want to see what it's about. We can't watch it all.
I can't see me. Can everybody else see me? Oh, there it is. All right, welcome back. Thursday night Squadcast. Oh, that was me. It wouldn't be a Thursday. Was that you?
No,
it was me.
Okay.
That was me. All
right.
Jonathan,
yes.
Coming by.
I'm glad to be back, man. I had a good time last time. Excited to come back for the live episode.
Do you remember what number it was?
Oh, that I was on.
It was called Special Missions Unit.
Yeah, it was called SMU. It was back in February, right before I went to Japan. Yeah, right before I got stem cells down in Mexico.
You got stem cells?
Yeah. I just Tijuana.
No, we're out in your body.
Oh, I got.
I don't care. Tijuana to be exact.
Yeah. I got it. I did my neck, my back, both shoulders, elbow, and then like a whole IV bag.
Right, where didn't they do it?
Well, there's some places that are getting ready to do.
All right.
Go back in August.
And if you're going back, I'm assuming you
6-month follow up.
All right.
So they do new MRIs to show you what they healed, and then they give you another IV bag with like 50 million stem cells.
Regardless of what the MRI says, what does the field test tell you? You feel like it worked?
Yeah.
It was good?
I would say probably after the first week, I had literally no more back pain. Like my back pain was gone past my 90-day mark, and my right shoulder.
The new normal. And it's like I've been in a bad mood.
I should see. And
I think stem cells are incredible, but
we got her, and so she had like some back issues, so she got. But they paid for half my treatment.
Right.
Me, okay, so my total treatment, I think I paid about $40,000 for my entire treatment. But they paid for
holy
half
fuck.
Right. That's still 20.
And then actually the wife, she went and got it done too, because she
$40,000 for stem cell treatment.
was a veteran, so she had like some back issues, so she got her back and shoulder done. But yeah, me, her, and Charlie. Charlie was the guy that did the rescue work with me in North Carolina, the Air Force TAPI guy. We went down there and got it done. It was amazing, but I will tell you, the first 48 hours after you get done, like, man, you were hurting bad.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You fly down there? As in you flew it.
I did not fly my plane. They told me I'd be hurting pretty bad, but
I think this has to do with Helene.
it was since we went to Mexico. So they do it right into your dick. That's the thing. They do it. Be a little more. I know that.
All right, would you sponsor me for that?
I can sponsor you. Yes.
Is the reason I want to see this.
Rogan uses is the one the UFC. So that's an injury.
And he monkey crawled over. I was in kids for a while. Like, do we know? He's going to be. There will be a documentary of him of the rise and fall of the Liver King, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah, and we're watching it full.
The Liver King's falling apart. You guys remember the Liver King guy?
I hate to say COVID hit and we were stuck for a couple weeks. And I was like, sure, yeah, watch it straight through.
All right, it's good. It's really good. He still tweets out to Trump trying to get pardoned here and there. So yeah. Powerful people. Tim
wasn't true. They just slapped a lawsuit.
All right,
this country album. Oh my gosh.
Sully 123 says you've been critical of rich and powerful people. Tim Kennedy, Rob O'Neill, etc. Have you faced backlash from them legally or by other means? How would you respond if you did?
Great question, because it leads me to this. If Rob O'Neill and Tim Kennedy, and heck, we'll throw Marcus Luttrell on this. If anything we said wasn't true, they just slapped a lawsuit on us so fast that it made our head spin for I'm forgetting this word right now. For libel,
defamation.
For defamation.
Libel, yeah.
Give us information. Now they would be subpoenaed, and not only would they be embarrassed. There was because we talked about that a little bit. Because I thought because of him and his DC shenanigans, I really was. I was gonna let it lie, but I'm back on the hunt. I'm back making phone. I'll say it right now because I don't care. Because of him and his DC shenanigans, I really was. I was gonna let it lie.
EK Rise and Fall series coming out soon one day. Yeah, he'll probably start posting videos like him crawling around the hallway.
I hope so. I'll say it right. I'll say it right now because I don't care. Because of him and his DC shenanigans, I really was. I was gonna let it lie, but I'm back on the hunt. I'm back making phone calls. This thing's far from done. If he's gonna try to embarrass us as veterans,
now he's representing the entire.
That's right. If he's gonna try to embarrass us as veterans up in DC, well, maybe it's time for more than just one chapter of your book.
We got Sully says, how many countries in the world have tier 1?
This answer, some will. Those of Spetsnaz and their tier 1 unit, and ask you, can you do it?
Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
If he is doing it right, crazy. I'd have to know the specifics.
I want to hear the Tim Kennedy part.
For sure.
Give him the studio, brother.
Thursday night.
A list of things I was going to talk to you about and I forgot to. All right, we're going to send it.
We have the design.
We have the design. I like it.
Tank tops for the boys.
I think I missed one. Magnum handout. Brent, any idea when the Delta Limited Edition's camo cigar just hatred. Hate.
The Sharpie over there, was it over there somewhere?
Donation so you can puberty all over again? Confused.
It's like the whole trip, the flights, the hotel, the operation, the flights back, like $7,000.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend because I'm not happy with my hairline. It's retreating. Look that way. Stem cells, testosterone. But builds back better. I have no hair.
We need FRCC in the 50th.
I'd be interested. 25, but that's still. You need the hardware. It's like.
And spoiler, serious question. I don't
spoiler.
FK, Mary.
Holy shit.
Yeah, how much? 20?
Increase.
World. Why would we change anything? We're the best in the world.
You literally cannot get better?
No. Just back to this question. We brought shields to the unit because he over to 7th Group. He did one combat, told a whole bunch of lies about all their.
Here we go.
What did he do? He did a few because
that's the sheriff of Baghdad, right?
That's the sheriff of bullshit. SOB, sheriff of bullshit, I believe is his name.
He's the one that recruited TK.
He did recruit TK. I don't know if that says. I don't know if that says a whole lot about him. I'm gonna retract that statement. In 180, I think that says everything about him because him and TK seem to be birds of the same feather. What did he do? He did a few combat rotations in CAG, which should have been good enough. And then he got fired, and he went over to 7th Group. He did one combat rotation there, and then he eventually retired, and then nothing was ever good enough. And
that's Shrek McPhee, the sheriff of Baghdad.
Typed up everything to make a name for himself. That's what he's done.
There you have it. Silly 1234, pound 499 UK SAS and
we have a selection, and this is widely that. Then you.
And the president's like, I need this done, and he goes to his people and goes, who's going to do it? Does it get political when they pick a team?
No, well, if some things get political, okay, it's not going to bode well for guys like Rob O'Neill, who's like, oh, well, they sent us because we're better. If you want people killed, you send SEAL Team 6. Okay, Rob, settle down, buddy. It's old enough. I don't care. I hope I do a good job of either saying what's open source. We're talking.
Jolie, back in again. How important is a sense of humor? What are
back?
Holy fuck!
Just if I rewatch,
dying laughing.
I got two. I'm gonna butcher the second one. That one we laughed. The whole first 30 minutes of the Eddie Gallagher live was just if I rewatched it. It was just us laughing the whole time.
I'm gonna be
you said Eddie.
Drug dealers. There's something like that. It was like fratricide, and I was like, oh, because this came out of nowhere. That one.
all right. Nobody says, Brent, have you ever seen the video?
Squadron, the mean a little bit before me. Feel like which means. And take is that legal to because I am a little bit cynical because nothing ever happens. What does that mean? You investigate?
I mean, they literally elected AOC.
Oh, you beat me.
Command?
Yes, I think.
Getting ladder down to him. No, stop. And it wasn't like, oh, I deserved it. Like, thank you. Like, that was really, really awesome for you to do that.
I had when I came on in February, I had guys that reached out to me about the skill bridge because I talked about it in the company. There was like a guy in the Marine Corps at 29 pounds.
He said, Brent Tyler, buddy, in America with a lifetime warranty.
Watch it live because I have tomorrow off.
Chat didn't get read. Very
out brawl of that.
I want to hear about Tim Kennedy and North Carolina.
Hear this, and they hate me, and I hate them. And the problem is, all the good leaders in ST, they're like great ones, Oreos underneath my pillow. So they're always trying to mess with me. Try to send that. That's what I hate them.
Please, Salvador, back $100. Thank you, Salvador.
Yeah.
We talk about the guy just said it was damning. If I got the wrong video,
lose.
We had a guy go drinking, do all the right things, spent the night at a buddy's house, woke up in the morning.
Use that. Hey, where you been? I'm not legally allowed to tell you about. Why are you late?
That's a good one. 4 is blind allegiance. I have no patience for blind allegiance. Out there, no. I love Trump. Trump does some stupid stuff, and when he does some stupid stuff, I'll tell you about it. I have no.
Okay.
Dead Crab, he's a film guy up in doing a documentary, New York City, Texas, and not far from Galveston. I originally grew up in Alvin, Texas. So the guys that are on my team, who are former Green Berets, they actually knew TK personally, and we heard he was coming out there in North Carolina, which I was like, hey, great.
Okay, here we go. Finally.
40,000. Is that less?
And we'll do paper plates. And he gives cigars. And coffee. Like, I mean, it's insane. So I know it was a really tore up place. And shout out to Savage Freedom Ops. Actually, I don't know if you know this guy. He's a Green Beret. He's out there running it. Adam, I think his name's Adam Smith. I'm trying to remember, but he runs. It's called Savage Freedom.
The shooter's dead.
And they were working at Harley up there doing a lot of good work. And Aaron, former controller, senior controller of mine, he was out there doing HLZs and stuff. But they've been out there the entire time and never left.
While we're on the North Carolina topic, for probably 1,400 listeners right now who haven't heard the Tim Kennedy story, if they didn't see your episode,
yes.
The 10 to 15,000 are going to watch it after this.
Yeah.
Episode 111.
It's episode 111. Remind them of the amazing feats.
Yeah,
TK did
the amazing things that TK did for us in North Carolina. So the guys that are on my team, who are former Green Berets, they actually knew TK personally, and we heard he was coming out there in North Carolina, which I was like, hey, great, like this guy can bring awareness. And I remember the place I was at, he had just flown in there on like a $5 million private helicopter, like retractable gear and everything. And I was like, okay, great, hey, this guy's gonna bring awareness. He's got a big following. He'll bring a lot of help. So what actually happened was when he went to the airfield to link up with my guys, my team, he went up to them, and somehow he knew about what they called Operation Blue Ridge, which was what Governor DeSantis sent us there to do, was to get trapped Floridians out of the mountains of North Carolina.
Right.
So we had a list of individuals that we known. Somehow TK knew about that. I don't know how he did, but he went up to one of our Green Berets and was like, hey, let me get that list of people that are trapped in the mountains from Florida. And they're like, well, hey, like, glad you're here, you got a helicopter. This is what we need. We need a helicopter. Let me put some of the guys in the helicopter with you. We'll go out there and get them. And he was like, no, like, you're not putting anybody on the helicopter. He's like, well, we have to go get these guys because these are Floridians. This is our mission, like, from the government. Like, we have to put at least one guy in the helicopter to go with you. And he was just like, no. And basically just like walked off. And it was like,
it's the Tim Kennedy show or no one.
Yeah. So he went to try to go get other missions from people, and he went out that day flying and never rescued nobody. So he got no social media footage. So that's why he was there. So the next day, now he's going up to my team and he's like, hey guys, what's up? You guys want to do some work? Well, guess what? We got our helicopters in at that point, so we didn't need his helicopter. So now he's like, hey, let's go do work. We can share it. We can do everything. And our guys were just like, nah, man. And this is from a Green Beret. Another Green Beret. He was just like, nah, like I'm not. Like you already kind of showed how you want to be. Like we don't need you now.
I didn't forget yesterday.
Yeah, like literally. And then they told me he was going around to all these other little groups and was just like, hey, like let's do some work. Like let's get give me these addresses. Give me where people are. People are just kind of like, no, man. Like you had your opportunity yesterday, like when there was actual desire need to do it. And if it wasn't all about you taking your video, so I believe right after that's when he left. He didn't even stay around. around. So he was there for a very short time, and it was just like, well, I'm done. And
he was also there long. Yeah, beat me to it. He was there long enough to do that and a Fox News interview.
It literally said Tim Kennedy saves North Carolina as the.
And that's what everything I had heard from like previous like people in the military, especially the Green Beret community. I was kind of like, man, like, I see it now. Because at first I was like, I thought he was kind of douchey, like, I'm a Green Beret Ranger sniper, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Maybe just it's his audience. He's appealing to civilian people like that. But once I saw how he actually was in North Carolina, now I was just kind of like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's probably another good segue.
Damn.
Tyler got the video.
Does sound bad.
Remember when he said, "I never claimed to have a Bronze Star." So even though we proved, and
so it says Tim Kennedy, a Green Beret and co-founder of Save Our Allies, is leading the rescue aid efforts in North Carolina following Hurricane Helene. His team, comprised of special operations veterans, is focused on areas with limited accessibility and using resources like Zodiacs and helicopters to reach isolated communities. They are working in partnership with FEMA to provide essential supplies and humanitarian aid. This just didn't happen.
And his Instagram and Twitter that he said, I earned Valor Awards in every single deployment I've ever been on. So he said that, and then he came out and defended himself and said, I said the awards I got were for valorous things, but they weren't Valor Awards. So he did a wordplay on them. Well, something new has come out, and let's, you found that, Drew?
I don't know which one is it.
Oh, right there. He's got his face right there. Yeah, let's see if that's true, Tim.
No audio. No audio? Just me? Better their chat than my chat. My chat would have told me it 15 times by now.
Wow. Anytime that guy comes on a clip and says, "You sure about that?" You hold on, something's coming. So he wasn't ready for that question, was he?
No, and you can. I've never once heard a clip where I can tell someone's lying. You usually have to look at things, like look at their facial features. Just the audio was a lie.
Long pause, laugh,
weird laugh. Yeah.
You know what? Let me hear it again.
Fuck Tim Kennedy.
Let me really focus on what he says. I want you guys to hear this. I want you to hear what he says.
I'd like to hear what he says. I'm just kidding. It's a clip we already watched, but still. I don't know what issues they're having broadcasting the audio.
All right, he did the Rob O'Neill nervous laugh. Oh my God! For starters, that's not what you get. That's not valorous.
That's a CIB.
Right, that's a CIB at best. That's called doing your job. No one's ever got a Valor Award for someone shooting at you and you shooting back.
Yeah, that's a combat action badge, a CAB or a CIB
for someone to
combat infantry badge if you're an infantryman.
Ask him a question, and all of his lies have been. I don't even want to say polished because his lies aren't polished. We picked him apart like easy prey, but he was not prepared for this. And the nervous laugh and let me see how quick I can make something up on the fly was not his best moment.
All right, guys, we're gonna play it again. There was no sound in the video.
Okay,
so this was muted
on both times.
On both times.
Okay,
all right, sorry guys.
We got it. Good job. Read the comments.
Damn, now they're playing.
A Purple Heart or a Bronze Star with a V device.
You sure about that?
Per the source I have here, you have a Bronze Star with a V. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You mind telling us about what happened there? How you got that?
Oh, pretty straightforward. I think so there was a bad guy, and that guy was shooting at us, and I shot him.
I've never seen.
There's that guy. He was shooting at us, and I shot him. The most unvalorous story you could ever come up with is what he said. Coming from a guy who said,
That's just a CAB, right? Combat action badge.
Never said I had a Valor Award. Not only did you say it in Twitter and Instagram, you said it in an interview and even backed it up with your own fake story about your fake award.
Lies are hard to keep track of.
I love what you guys said about when he first came out when he was like, "Oh, if you look at my old photos from 10 years ago at UFC," and he was like, he said he gave you a homework assignment to go prove that he doesn't cheat.
Tyler took that challenge and said, "I don't have to go that far back. I'll do this ice bath thing again."
Oh, that's his big lie about having a piece of shrapnel in his back. That never happened.
He takes off in slow motion and shows his whole back.
But claims he never received a Purple Heart because he had this piece of shrapnel lodged in his back, but he never reported it, told anybody.
That is citing question.
Right. So Tim, that's gonna be hard to defend. Your whole story is hard to defend. So for the love of God, when will you just come out and say, "You got me"? I talk about the truth. I talk about
he's in too deep. I don't think he can.
I talk about being a man, and I've misled you guys, and I in my own life have screwed up. So I'm caught red-handed now, so I have nowhere else to go but the truth. I'd still respect it, even though he's caught red. Sometimes like when you catch your kids red, like you gave him a chance before that, but then you really catch him red-handed. Like, I wanted you to come forward before this, but you still get credit at the end of the day.
You're back in the corner, and then you say like, "Okay, still."
All right, you're right, better than nothing. So Tim, let's see what you do with this one. And you know, I'm out there. I don't say a lot of the personal stuff out loud, but I'll let him know. I'll say in full transparency. When I text him, I'm like, "Hey, this is on the record. What do you have to say about this?" I'm gonna send him that clip.
Yep, I'm sure he's seen it.
It's just crazy.
He sent it. He did send it to him. So he sends him this clip and says, on the record, full transparency, what do you have to say about this clip? He texts it to him. And you guess what Tim Kennedy's response is? If chat's still here, I don't even fucking know. Tim Kennedy's response is, sorry, the video won't load. The video won't load. Sorry. Oh, God. The quartering doesn't want women to be fucking in movies.
Look, I don't know who is asking for Ironheart. but it is the worst modern rated Marvel television show to be released in the last, I don't know, 10 or 15 years. We're going to look at that. It's also getting flack for promoting the AI best friends. You know the thing, you'll live in a bug, or you live in a pod, you'll eat the bugs, you'll own nothing, and you'll be happy. You know that? That is this.
Wow, that has changed a lot. It used to just be you own nothing and be happy. Now we're going to live in a pod and eat bugs.
Whole AI, we've talked about this on the show before, how AI, you know, there are people that want you to get replaced with AI. They want your girlfriends and best friends to be AI. So it's getting flack with that. It is the second lowest MCU scoring show ever in history. There is so much more to talk about. After a super quick word from this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, websites and media cannot be accessed that you're paying a huge protector MCU scoring show in history for and ensure that your internet is never sent. Ironheart is tied as the second lowest MCU scoring show in history. This is from Paul Tassi, too, who's a hardcore leftist who would do anything to glaze for the show.
The quartering has such weird incel vibes, dude. It's insane.
Disney dropped the first 3 episodes of Ironheart on Wednesday. But while we don't know what the actual viewership will be, well, I think if it's bad, we're never going to know. If it's good, they'll say that. You know, both critic and audience reviews are coming in. As it stands, Ironheart is tied as the second lowest scored MCU show, albeit still a ways from the quote rotten classification that only one series ever has gotten, and that was Secret Invasion. As it stands, and this number has bounced around a little, Ironheart has a 70% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes, which would tie with Echo. Remember Echo? Hey, don't you guys want a superhero show about a deaf or blind person?
Married, and his wife bought him a plane, or he bought his wife a plane or some shit.
Who doesn't want that? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Is blind not enough? Oh, but they're Native American too. So if you don't watch it, you hate Native Americans. I'm hesitant to consider its audience score valid at this point. It would be in 4th place, but it was provably review brigaded and sat around 30% just 20 minutes after release when it was physically impossible to have watched the first 3 episodes. Here's the list. Ms. Marvel, 98% from critics, well, of course, because it had a brown person in it. 80% from audience. WandaVision, 92% critic. The crazy thing about WandaVision is
because it had a brown person in it.
I will admit, the first couple episodes of WandaVision were actually okay, but then it didn't realize, if they had realized that Wanda was the villain, I think the show would have been much better. Does that make sense? Like any normal person watching WandaVision knew that Wanda was actually the villain. But they're like, it's a strong independent woman, so she can't be the villain. Then critic with Hawkeye with a 92, Loki with 87.
Why is he out of breath, dude? Why is he out of breath? And then realize that Wanda is the villain. Then I think they would have been doing about. Holy fuck, dude.
Daredevil with an 87. Moon Knight. Do you notice how every one of these are a disabled or a minority? Except Hawkeye, but I mean Hawkeye's really about the girl. Loki really wasn't, I suppose. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, 85. Agatha All Along, which was 84, which that show was terrible. She-Hulk had a 32% audience score, by the way, with its 79% critic. And then Ironheart and Echo both hit at 70, with Secret Invasion sitting at 52. Now, if we look at this, what is it now? It's eked up to 71. But here's the interesting part. It only has 58 reviews. Isn't that odd? I think that goes towards the 58 reviews. That has a lot to do with viewership. Now, if I could look on what's Echo, let's see how many people reviewed Echo. Echo. Why is it not in here? Echo, wasn't that not called Echo? Where is it? Oh, TV shows. Echo. Is this it? That's sitting at 70%, but it doesn't even tell me. It doesn't tell me how many people reviewed it. Isn't that interesting? So I don't know exactly how many people reviewed this. If you look, here.
I guess you said it was interesting. They had,
so it wasn't that. It was 88.
Said it was.
I guess you could say it wasn't that
interesting. The other one had 58, but then you're like, this one doesn't even show it.
But it is definitely less. We know that. Okay. I can't say that critic.
It's what 20 less, and it's brand new. It just came out.
Always equates to total viewership, but I do know how internet clicks work, and you're probably
a fucking retard.
Isn't getting a ton of views. Does that make sense? You're only gonna review stuff that you think is gonna make you money with clicks, and so are they scrubbing negative reviews? That's entirely possible. There's a lot of possibilities here as to why.
Full on conspiracy. It's brand new. They just released 3 episodes, dude. They just released 3 episodes. It's brand fucking new.
There aren't that many.
Are they scrubbing negative reviews? No.
I mean, it's not like it's none. I'll say that. It's not like it's none. But also they're getting heat for the AI stuff. Ironheart promotes AI besties, and I think it's kind of dangerous.
It's weird that he's not into any, if it has a brown person or a woman that's the main character, he's like, it's woke. They went woke. They'll never make any money off this. Is horrible. Nobody wants this.
Yes. Even though AI companions are nothing new in sci-fi, people are already doing this in real life to disastrous results. In the Disney Plus series, the young Tony Stark's hero, she's not a hero, Riri Williams, resurrects her best friend Natalie through AI. The implications go full galaxy brain real quick. Natalie can speak, remember a project like a lifelike holographic form, and engage with people just like a real human, but she's not alive in the traditional sense. While the idea of the artificial companion has long been a sci-fi staple, its real-world counterpart now comes with intense controversy. The newest forms of generative AI chatbots are poised to upend industries, eliminate jobs, and spread misinformation. Hollywood has responded awkwardly. Films like 2023's The Creator and Jennifer Lopez's running on Netflix action movie Atlas reflect a growing trend of pro-AI narratives from studios with major investments in the technology and invested interest in its acceptance. Ironheart is another stab at improving the text image. What bothers me isn't that viewers might watch a Marvel show and retreat to their computers in the form of bomb with ChatGPT fueled human replica. It's that people already are doing it for their deceased loved ones. Ironheart, which one imagines Disney designed for a mass audience appeal, doesn't grapple with that present. A few years ago, the events of the show, Riri Williams witnessed a drive-by, blah, 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 don't really care. Getting heat for that. I mean, Ironheart Marvel's gamble on a minor MCU hero, it doesn't pay off. This is Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone said that it's not a good show. Rolling Stone, the progressive slop outlet, says the latest Disney Marvel series centered around Dominique Thorne's mecha-suited genius feels like a relic from a past throw-it-against-the-wall MCU era.
I can't believe he's so far out of breath, dude.
Leftoids to support your show. If you can't get left-wing media to say, wow, what an amazing show, you're probably not going to do so well. And again, I'll say this like I always say it. I know that this show was not created for me. I know that. I know that.
I got him at normal speed now, and he's still taking deep breaths.
You know, I absolutely know that Ironheart.
No, it's only a problem when a black or a female has an AI. Tony Stark is a white male. So
Black by child hero is not for me. So it's not like I'm going to make a million videos talking about Ironheart. She-Hulk, I know, was not made for me, but it was such a spectacular car wreck, I couldn't not talk about it. With this, Ironheart's going to be a flash in the pan. It's going to be canceled after one season. Mark my words. If you disagree, let me know.
He's such a fucking loser, dude. Holy shit. That was a squad cast. There's another good video. Let's see. Generic Art Dad did the APAC. It's kind of interesting. All the ties.
Why is APAC so controversial? Do you really want to take on APAC? Because we have a reputation. This might be my only opening. Okay, to strap in. The first thing that you need to understand is the difference between traditional lobbyist organizations and us. Most lobbyists are businesses that make money representing clients. But you found a loophole. APAC is an ideologically based lobbyist nonprofit that's funded by donors, functionally similar to the NRA. It's just instead of being pro-firearms, you're pro-Israel? Nope. We are for the advancement of the U.S.-Israeli relationship in ways that enhance security for both countries. But you only lobby here?
Weird.
Not in Israel. No. Kind of seems a little one-sided, doesn't it? Listen, we represent the interest of Americans, not the Israeli government. Because representing a foreign government means that you'd have to register under FARA. Correct, and that would be bad. So that's the controversy? Should I really care that much about a government regulation? Well, the regulation's only part of it. The thing is that we have extraordinary bipartisan influence over U.S. politics. We are very motivated and very effective at shaping Congress. Which is why you donate so much to re-election campaigns. But I mean, that's pretty common for lobbyists, right? Nope, we don't donate. We have a very unique relationship with our wealthy donors where if we tell them to support a candidate, they show up.
We tell our Jewish donors to donate. We don't donate at all.
Because of the campaign contribution limits. You've got way more power if you've got 100 people with $5,000 to give than one person with 500. Exactly. Our ability to wield our donors is how we fund campaigns, our super PAC, even a nonprofit that makes all of this possible that we'll talk about later, but they are the bread and butter of our power, which you use to shape Congress. Yeah, we keep scorecards on different representatives, how you vote on things. If you piss us off, we will punish you. Oh, well.
Congress is scared of APAC. Congress is scared of APAC.
Like ex-Mossad? Huh? Oh, no, we primary you. What does that mean? We have our super PAC, UDP, back your opponent in the next primary. That can't be that effective, right? Especially if you're going after an incumbent. It is wildly effective. UDP spends more money in Democratic primaries than any other super PAC. Most of the time, if UDP backs a candidate, they win. Well, why are you so focused on Democratic primaries? Well, there seems to be a growing problem with anti-Semitism in progressive circles. Take, for example, Jamal Bowman or Andy Levin. Oh, right, I remember that. They were both critical of Israel. They supported conditions on aid. You backed both of their opponents, and they both lost, but I can't.
I saw a clip today of Mom Donnie during the debates. And they asked every person that was running for New York City mayor. They said, you know, the New York City mayor usually travels a lot, goes to foreign places, blah, blah, blah. Where's the first place you would go? And every candidate on the stage said the first place they would go is to Israel. Why the fuck does a New York City mayor need to go to Israel? Except for Mom Donnie, who said, I would just stay here and help the people in Israel. Or help the people in New York. And they're like, then someone spouted off something about like, so you're saying you wouldn't go to Israel? And he's like, I mean, I can support Jewish people that live in New York City in all 5 boroughs. That's fine. But why would I go to Israel? I'm the mayor of New York City.
can't find anything they said that was anti-Semitic. We never said they did. You just did. No, I didn't.
Listen.
We backed both of their opponents, and they both lost, but I can't find anything they said that was anti-Semitic. We never said they did. You just did. No, I didn't. We did the same thing during the election. We put out an ad talking about a rise in anti-Semitism, and then we asked viewers, are you going to stand up to Jamal Bowman? It's just a heavy insinuation. You asked why we're controversial, and I warned you about making this video. It kind of feels like you're weaponizing a really important word as a way to avoid accountability, which is then cheapening
the people they primaried against never said anything anti-Semitic. What the commercial showed was all this rise in anti-Semitism of other people, and then it would say, are you going to stand up to so-and-so? But they never claimed that so-and-so ever said any of this stuff, participated in it, condoned it, anything. They just showed a bunch of clips of rising anti-Semitism, what they called rising anti-Semitism. Then they said, are you going to stand up to this candidate we don't like?
the word itself. Are you justifying anything bad towards...
Like the Trump campaign, like Elon Musk paying to run ads, his PAC paying to run ads to like Muslim voters saying that Kamala Harris was anti-Muslim and Jewish voters saying that she was anti-Semitic. It was weird.
Us? Unequivocally, no. What I am saying is that I'm going to get plenty of that comment for trying to have a conversation that at its core is about an organization that looks like it might potentially be influencing our government on behalf of a foreign government. You love wading into controversial topics, don't you? Also, no, I hate making these videos. You have no idea how much diarrhea I get. Don't you ever wonder why progressive policies can be so popular, like taxing billionaires, but getting progressive candidates elected can be so hard? Well, whenever you talk about progressive policies, some people start calling you a communist, or worse. And remember, AIPAC Super PAC spends more money in Democratic primaries than any other Super PAC, usually targeting progressive candidates, and most of the time we win. Jesus. So not only is AIPAC making sure the Congress is pro-Israel, but you're actively holding back wildly popular progressive policies by primarying progressive politicians. So not pro-Israel. It's very important that we don't look like we're coordinating with the Israeli government. Right, because of FARA. Honestly though, like, why do I even care if you're following some crusty old government regulation anyways? We are following it because we are not lobbying Congress on behalf of a foreign government. Oh, sure. We have massive influence over U.S. politics, and you should care because registering under FARA means more scrutiny. Right, no, I get that. I guess I'm asking, if AIPAC registered under FARA, are we just...
Because if you remember, the NRA got just a little bit of scrutiny, and then suddenly everybody was scared to take their money.
Getting more insight into bad shit that you get to keep doing? Did you know that the NRA spent $50 million lobbying in 2016? It's a lot of money. But by 2022, it was down to 15. Okay. Why do I care about the NRA? Remember, we are functionally similar to the NRA, and when the NRA started facing investigations and public backlash, it tainted an already controversial brand. You're saying that more insight would hurt your image. It wouldn't look great. FARA would mean mandatory disclosures around things like donors, media campaigns, or communications with elected officials. Oh, and people would be afraid to donate because they wouldn't want to be associated with you. Something's telling me that the donors of AIPAC probably wouldn't be swayed too much by bad publicity. But we could make Bernard Marcus, co-founder of Home Depot, longtime donor to AIPAC and the right-wing causes, a test subject. What's more likely is that members of Congress will be hesitant to be associated with AIPAC, which means less influence, maybe even potentially getting a few more progressive candidates into Congress. Congress might be more likely to put conditions on aid packages or be more critical of things that Israel or AIPAC are doing. I guess I'm not fully understanding that. Why would they be more vocal? Well, do you remember being worried about getting a bunch of comments calling you anti-Semitic just for talking about this? And then that gave me really bad indigestion. Congress is 10 times as scared as you are about pissing people off because that means losing votes. I don't know about that, because I really fucking hate it. But when you have full visibility and receipts into how an organization is coordinating with bipartisan government officials, running media campaigns, that gives you a shield. You're saying that it's harder for AIPAC to avoid criticism when everything's laid out. What are you doing to influence U.S. politics, and what is your relationship with Israel? And that is why we still need to talk about the trips that we send Congress on. Jesus.
The trips they send Congress on. They've started an educational nonprofit where AIPAC coordinates with the Israeli government through this educational nonprofit to send Congress members 40 to 60 a year to Israel to meet with politicians over there. Do visits, see the military, meet with politicians, all that shit. And still claim they're not coordinating with a foreign government.
Jesus Christ. Sorry. Oh, to us, he's just a parishioner. I don't care. Are you saying that AIPAC sending Congress to Israel is the proof that the Israeli government is influencing U.S. politics? Technically, we are not sending those 40 to 60 members of Congress to Israel every year. 40 to 60? That is all done by AIEF. Who's AIEF? An educational nonprofit. Your educational nonprofit? I will maintain legal and rhetorical distance from that. Do they do other educational things besides these trips? No, not really. Okay. So Congress tries to make AIEF happy so they can go on the trip? Not exactly. We're still on the lookout for members of key committees, freshmen that are on the fence about Israel, and then most of them end up going in August when Congress is on recess. But since you're not sending them, this is the point where you hand the list over to AIF. Not yet. We still have to plan some things like messaging or speaker lineups, site visits, briefing packets, things like that.
And so they line up the entire fucking trip. Then they hand it off to their nonprofit, educational nonprofit, so they can say that they didn't coordinate with the Israeli government.
Once that's done, since you're not sending them, you were taking a step back? Not quite. We still have to train AIEF staff on how to guide the trip or what we want the takeaway to be. Doing a lot of planning for a trip that you're not responsible for, but I am confident in saying that you're certainly not going with them. No. Not as official APAC staff, we go as educational support. So you use an educational nonprofit that doesn't do other education to send members of Congress on educational trips to Israel for you, but you still end up doing the planning, and you even send your own employees as educational resources? There's a revolving door of staff and board members between our two organizations. Did you create AIEF? We won't deny it, but we also won't draw attention to it. I will say this, in addition to our incestuous staffing relationship, we have also explicitly pointed our donors to fund AIEF. And there's also a fair amount of evidence showing that we are legally separate, but functionally intertwined. And these educational trips, they're just luxury vacations that are designed to get around ethical violations? No, I mean, spouses of representatives are absolutely getting luxury trips, fancy flights, fancy hotels, fancy food, but the representatives themselves are actually quite productive. They're going on site visits, visiting with the military, meeting with politicians, sometimes even the prime minister. Wait a minute. You're not allowed to coordinate with the Israeli government. Correct, we are not. Then that's the smoking gun. You should have to register under FARA. I'm not doing anything. Yes, you are. You're sending sitting U.S. Congress members to Israel to meet with the military and politicians. I mean, you're literally coordinating with the Israeli government. No, I'm not. AIEF. AIEF. You plan it, but they officially coordinate and book everything. Jesus. Okay, so registering under FARA would provide us insight into how you operate, your relationship with AIEF, and your link with the Israeli government. But without that insight, it's really hard to prove your link with the Israeli government, which is the thing that we need to make sure that you register for FARA. I'll maintain legal and rhetorical distance from that. You said that your mission was to promote the U.S.-Israeli relationship in ways that strengthen security for both countries. That's an important distinction. Do you ever push Congress to support resolutions that the Israeli government is not in favor of? Not usually. If the U.S. gave Israel financial or military support without conditions, and that was used for war crimes, wouldn't that create a security threat for the United States? Well, you can't commit war crimes if no one credible is accusing you of war crimes.
Man, lobbying is fucking insane. I don't. I guess you just gotta wish that one day you become a multi-fucking billionaire so you can lobby somebody in your favor. I don't know what else to do. It's so deeply entrenched into the U.S. politics. Agents blow up the door with mom and baby. Suspect not found. Breach in charge.
ICE agents blow open the door of a Huntington Park home while a mother and her baby, the young child, were inside. The raid, explosives, drones, and a canine unit sparked fear in the neighborhood. Agents arrived around 6 this morning with that heavy gear. They moved in on a home near Salt Lake Park. Two explosions that shattered the front door and a window. Agents used a drone to clear the house room by room. Inside, they did not find the man they were looking for. Outside, a woman and her baby were detained but were later released. Agents left the scene without an arrest.
It appears to be
Who's going to make that law?
retaliation as ICE and U.S. Department of Homeland Security wants to deter people from staying here. They really, really want to sell. This is a scare tactic. We understand, Department of Homeland Security, that this is what you want. You're trying to scare our people, trying to scare U.S. citizens, but we're not going to stand for it. We understand. We know our constitutional rights.
Customs and Border Protection says the man they were looking for here was wanted for ramming his vehicle into an ICE agent's car last Friday. During that incident, they say agents were assaulted and riders threw rocks and other objects at agents. Wilmington officials are speaking out about recent ICE raids in their community. They say this morning 3 people were detained by what they believe to be ICE agents, and those people were eating at a taco stand. Officials say masked ICE agents were seen chasing people near the El Dorado car wash as well. Take a look. Councilmember Janice Hahn sending us a picture of this notice. She says ICE agents handed out to a mobile food vendor. It says, a warning to illegal aliens, self-deport or you'll be prosecuted. It lists the consequences if they don't and the benefits of doing so. Hahn says the ICE raids, a quote, are attack not only on our communities but on our local economy by the Trump administration. That chaotic scene in downtown LA where a crowd surrounds what appears to be federal agents. Citizen app video showing people recording and yelling out curse words at the agents, telling them to get out of there. Then one of the agents deploys a smoke bomb, causing people to scatter. An agent is seen hopping in a white truck and driving off. We have reached out to Customs and Border Patrol for more information on what happened here and have not heard back.
Hold on just a second. Let me grab this. The ICE raids are getting out of hand for sure. Internet Archive. The Wayback Machine, baby. Let's go. it's hard to get Congress to vote to limit themselves, right? They're just not going to vote. I mean, they just fucking lie to get elected all the time now. I don't know how to do it. All right, remember when the Trump administration brought back Kilmar Obrego Garcia, and suddenly they wouldn't bring him. They said they can't bring him back. Sorry, can't do it. And then suddenly they had a case against him. They're like, okay, he's coming back tonight, right? How did they get that case, you reckon? My thought was they just found some people to testify against him, and that's what they're going with, right? They gave him a sweetheart deal. They told him, hey, testify against this guy. We got to bring him back, blah, 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 that kind of deal. Here we go. It's come out now. Star witness against Kilmar Abrego Garcia was due to be deported. Now he's being freed in the United States. Jose Raymond Hernandez Reyes is a 3-time felon who has been released early from federal prison to a halfway house in exchange for his cooperation in the case. The Trump administration has agreed to release from prison a 3-time felon who drunkenly fired shots in Texas community and spare him from deportation in exchange for his cooperation in the federal prosecution of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, according to a review of court records and official testimony. By the way, they claim that Abrego Garcia was doing some of the stuff they claim is like physically impossible. Like he was running 24-hour drives to transport illegals across the nation, like 5 and 6 days a week. Jose Raymond Hernandez Reyes, 38, has been convicted of smuggling migrants and illegally re-entering the United States after having been deported. He also pleaded guilty to deadly conduct in a Texas incident, and is now the government's star witness in his case against Abrego. The government illegally deported Abrego. By the way, no criminal record, no charges, no nothing, right? Versus this, whatever. The government illegally deported Abrego into a notorious mega prison in El Salvador in March and stonewalled for weeks after the Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return to the United States. Officials flew the Maryland resident back into the country this month, but only after a grand jury had indicted him on charges of migrant smuggling, in part because of Hernandez's testimony. In court, prosecutors have identified their main witness as the first cooperator, but a federal agent also testified this month that the main cooperator owned the vehicle that Abrego was allegedly using to smuggle migrants when the Tennessee Highway Patrol stopped him in 2022. The Department of Homeland Security has identified Hernandez as the registered owner of the SUV Abrego was driving in that incident. The traffic stop is a centerpiece of the criminal investigation. We've seen the cam from it, right? Yeah, he's part of the sheet metal union. Hernandez is among a handful of cooperating witnesses who could help the Trump administration achieve its goal of never letting Abrego walk free in the United States again. In exchange, he's already been released early from federal prison to a halfway house and has been given permission to stay in the United States. Otherwise, he would be deported, Peter Joseph, a Homeland Security Investigation Special Agent, testified at a Abrego criminal hearing June 13th. The government is also likely to give him a work permit, the agent told the court. Abrego's mistaken deportation in March to El Salvador's Terrorism Confinement Center, CCOT, with more than 200 other deportees, revealed the risk associated with Trump's administration's efforts to quickly fulfill the president's campaign promises to carry out mass deportations. But the Justice Department's decision to spare Hernandez shows that officials are also willing to keep serious offenders in the United States to meet their particular goals. They're going to let this guy walk free in the United States just so they can get rid of Abrego Garcia, who they wrongfully deported in the first place. And this guy's way worse than Abrego Garcia would ever be. Abrego has no prior criminal arrests or convictions. Hernandez was going to be deported a 6th time within the next few months. Then federal agents showed up a few weeks ago asking about Abrego. It's wild to me, said Lisa Sherman Luna, executive director of the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition. It's just further evidence of how the government is using Kilmar's case to further their propaganda and prove their political point. They can't back down. Hernandez's criminal history and recent transfer to a halfway house in return for his testimony matched the agent's description of the main cooperating witness. The U.S. Department of Justice declined to comment about the agreement to release Hernandez or on his criminal record. By the way, I've heard that he's been promised a work permit to basically stay here. Hernandez's court-appointed lawyer, Javier Martinez, did not respond to requests for comment. Hernandez testified to the grand jury proceedings that led to the recent indictment against Abrego, who has pleaded not guilty. Prosecutors alleged that Abrego, 29, was a driver for a business that transported thousands of undocumented immigrants from Texas to states such as Maryland for money. Joseph testified that Hernandez told investigators he met Abrego around 2016 when he was living in the D.C. suburbs of Maryland. He alleged that they both worked as drivers or undocumented immigrants. Drivers for undocumented immigrants. Federal records show that more than 60% of convicted smugglers are U.S. citizens with little to no criminal history, and drivers are often low-level operatives in need of quick cash. After Hernandez moved to the Houston area, the two kept in touch. Both are from El Salvador. Hernandez is nearly a decade older than Abrego. Abrego crossed the southern border illegally in 2011 as a teenager, court records show, after he said he'd received multiple death threats from a gang. Immigration officers detained him for several months in 2019 after a Maryland police detective alleged he was an MS-13 gang member. The detective who made the claim after the encounter with Abrego at a Home Depot parking lot was later fired and indicted over alleged misconduct in an unrelated case. Abrego's lawyers have said he was never a member of any gang. Abrego was released after an immigration judge ruled he should not be deported to El Salvador because his life could be threatened by the gangs that had sparked his decision to flee the United States in the first place. Hernandez's criminal record dates back to at least 2015 when police in Chesterfield County, Virginia, arrested him for public drunkenness, and he paid a small fine. He has been arrested or in prison every year since, according to federal, state, and county records reviewed by the Post. Houston police arrested him in 2016 for alleged cocaine possession, but court records show prosecutors dismissed the case because about an issue with a search. Police in College Station, Texas, arrested him in 2017 for allegedly driving while intoxicated with a handgun in the car. He pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor drunk driving and was punished with 60 days in jail and a $1,500 fine. He also forfeited the gun to the state. An immigration judge in Texas ordered him deported in February 2018, and he was sent to El Salvador that month. 2 months later, U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested Hernandez after he waded across the Rio Grande into Texas. He pleaded guilty to entering the country illegally, a misdemeanor, and was sentenced to 30 days in prison. Federal court records show he was deported in May of 2018. But Hernandez repeatedly seemed to find a way to get back in. By December of the next year, he had surfaced again, this time in Mississippi. An officer had pulled over the vehicle he was riding in and suspected Hernandez was helping smuggle migrants. The van held more passengers than seatbelts, and a large piece of cardboard was blocking the back window. 7 passengers were undocumented immigrants from Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, and El Salvador, and some admitted they had paid hundreds of dollars for rides north. Federal investigators said Hernandez admitted that he was in the United States illegally. He said he was running a business called Trans Express that offered rides from Texas to South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Atlanta for $350 per person. He said he had started out as a ride app driver in Maryland, but there was too much competition, so he moved to Texas and started his own company. Hernandez sat in the front passenger seat while his partner's unlicensed 18-year-old brother drove them. The man told investigators Hernandez paid him $400 to help transport the migrants. Hernandez later pleaded guilty to illegally transporting migrants and was sentenced to 18 months in federal prison in 2020. It is unclear what happened after Hernandez finished that sentence, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement did not immediately respond to the question about his immigration history. On a December afternoon in 2022, Hernandez was highly intoxicated and had just argued with his wife, according to Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, according records released in response to a public records request from the Post. Hernandez was riding around a Texas community known as the Woodlands with a friend at the wheel of a pickup truck. The friend told authorities Hernandez pulled out a silver handgun and, from the passenger seat, began to shoot out the window. It was before 4 p.m. And neighbors nearby. Then he fell asleep. Sheriff's deputies pulled over the truck. One deputy wrote that Hernandez was too intoxicated to give his side of the story. Authorities said they recovered 11 spent shells and several rounds of live ammunition. Jose kept on saying he did nothing wrong, the report said. Authorities charged him with deadly conduct with a firearm, a third-degree felony, in part because he was shooting in a residential neighborhood with a person only 50 feet away. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 2 years in state prison. This is the guy they're letting go to testify that Abrego Garcia was this mastermind behind smuggling. After his sentence was up, the federal prosecutors charged Hernandez with re-entering the United States illegally after having been convicted of a serious crime. That crime carries a potential sentence of up to 20 years and hefty fines. Hernandez asked the federal judge for leniency, noting he had already been in the state prison for 2 years. All I want to do is go back to my country and to go back to my family, Hernandez said. U.S. District Judge Andrew Hannon asked why Hernandez had been in state prison. His lawyer recounted the shooting but noted that nobody had been injured. Oh, the judge said. Hannon granted the prosecutor's request that Hernandez serve 30 months in federal prison. He was nearing the end of his sentence and facing imminent deportation when ICE officers wrongly deported Abrego in March. The Supreme Court in April ordered the administration to facilitate Abrego's return to the United States. Around that time, federal investigators heard about Hernandez and began interviewing him in prison. An indictment was filed under seal on May 21st, and Abrego was brought back in early June. Abrego's defense lawyers have disparaged Hernandez as a snitch and a two-time felon, though records show he has been convicted of at least 3 felonies. Others caution that Hernandez may fear deportation to the same Salvadoran prison where Abrego ended up. U.S. Magistrate Judge Barbara D. Holmes ruled on June 22nd that Abrego was eligible for release from criminal custody, saying the government had failed to prove that he posed a flight risk or a danger to the community. She wrote that she put little weight on the claims of Hernandez and other cooperators based on their records and interest in avoiding their own deportation. So there's a couple other cooperators that are also getting basically to stay here as long as they convict, as long as they lead to conviction or testify, I guess, against Abrego Garcia. But the government has given conflicting signals about what could happen to Abrego next. Federal officials have said Abrego will not be freed pending trial and that he would be transferred to immigration custody. So the judge basically said, like, I don't think you should be in jail for this, right? And I don't think you're a flight risk, and I don't believe their testimony. The government hasn't shown you're a flight risk, but ICE could immediately pick you up, I'm assuming. A government lawyer told the federal judge in Maryland, who first ordered Abrego's return on Thursday, that immigration authorities would initiate civil proceedings to remove him to a third country now, which the Supreme Court just approved. Top Justice Department and White House officials, meanwhile, have insisted there is no chance they would remove him from the country before his criminal trial, pointing out that what they described as directly contradictory statements. Abrego's lawyer made an unusual request Friday to keep him in criminal custody until July 16th, when a judge has scheduled a hearing to more fully explore the issue. They noted that the prosecutors and immigration officials had worked together to secure an indictment against Abrego. The officials had also worked together to free Hernandez. Prosecutors and ICE are working together, by the way. Steve Thomas and Jerry Roebuck contributed to this report. That's insane, right? They're building a bullshit case around him, and it'll probably work. It'll probably work. Who knows how easy it is to convince a jury, right? The judge kind of already says she smells bullshit with it. But if you get a jury trial, who the fuck knows? Hard to say, right? All right, guys, I got to wrap it up. I got a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow. I got an interview at the for a like a grant program from the flood thing that they're doing for the campground. I got to go to that. And I got to get the skid steer turned back in tomorrow. It gets picked up. I just got a bunch of shit to do tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap it up early. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for hanging out with me. Please consider contributing to the show at coldbeer.fund, especially now towards the end of the month. That's when we really struggle. But thank you guys for being here. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thank you for the views, shares, whatever. And I'll see everybody on the next one. Have a good night. And hopefully the Trump administration isn't building a trumped up case on you as well. Have a good one, guys.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well listen bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the
And I guess.
stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you